April 2024 will be the biggest and most important month this year, guys. Look at this. Everything is merged together here. All the planets are very close together. Lots of new beginnings. Solar eclipse of the century is happening there. Powerful solar eclipse, which means new beginning solar eclipse, which means there is earthquake in your soul at certain level, because there are earthquakes as well on Earth. And this earthquake changes and gives you a new initiative, new direction in life, new identity areas. These are my longest horoscopes this year. I'm not gonna do such long horoscope, but this is such an important month. A new beginning, another new beginning. Saturn conjunct Mars, new cycle starts, which means you're gonna have for the next 2 years new tasks, the great work that you have to do, where you have to build perseverance, where you have to put a lot of your efforts. Where is that going to be? And you might have a master finished work within 2 years, but big challenges there as well. And the biggest event of the year, Jupiter conjunct Uranus. It will never happen again. Jupiter to conjunct Uranus in Taurus in your life. It will repeat in 84 years. Once in a lifetime opportunity. I can't tell you how excited I am. New cycle. Well, will your source of abundance and opportunities come to you over the next 14 years? If you catch this message, if you understand it, you can have an opportunity for the next 14 years to be abundant. So we'll speak about each of the 12 signs. But before I start, I want to tell you that this is my birthday month, April. If I'm still alive after April, with all the eclipses and new beginnings, I want to make you a gift. All my courses will be 30, 40%, sometimes even more off. I do this only once per year for 2 weeks. This is the time. All my courses, personal courses, if you want to learn astrology over 1,000 hours, they're short courses, long courses, I'll put them. You can buy them now. I hope you enjoy this. And we still have a few places for the retreat with me in Bulgaria at the end of May. We have 3 places, I think, so quickly write to me if you're interested to organize everything quickly for you. This is the most personal retreat I ever do, because I'll be looking at all of your horoscopes individually. It's very private and it's very personal. It's a small group only. So thank you so much. Let's start. Virgo, Sun, Moon, Rising, April 2023, 4. Oh. Virgo, of course, the month starts with your ruler being retrograde. Maybe that's why I made a mistake. Mercury is turning retrograde in Aries from the beginning of the month to the 25th, pretty much the whole month. You're used to that. 3 times, 4 times per year, Mercury goes retrograde. Some of you even function better during Mercury retrograde. But yeah, just be more flexible during that time, and Mercury will be retrograde in your 8th house, maybe redoing your taxes, putting extra attention so you don't make mistakes in something to do with monetary, financial matters. It might be also taxes, inheritance, and such things, but it can also make your mind more introspective and especially focus on deeper questions like psychological questions, questions of psychological health, examining your inner motivations, even doing some research about something, taboo subjects, occult subject, conspiracies, or some kind of digging about secrets and extracting on the surface secrets that can come. Something that you've missed before can now be seen. So extracting something, some information, some secret coming to the surface in some way. But also it's psychologically quite good because it's revising your inner motivations. This is where we keep our traumas in the 8th house, where the subconscious is connected to the subconscious inner demons, we call them. The battlefield with the shadow side is in the 8th house. So there might be some deep realizations and thinking and research you do there with Mercury. And sometimes it can create some kind of a crisis, Mercury retrograde in the 8th house, with mutual finances and resources, some extra payments or something that is missed, or some crisis in secrets, about secrets coming to the surface, about intimacy, or having clarifying conversations about such matters, mutual finances, intimacy, and so on with others. But it's a good time for working with the psychology and so on. But the really big activation in the 8th house this month, there is a lot of focus. There is the eclipse on the 8th of April. Some of you might have felt it already a month before, but the eclipse is a theme for the whole year for you. One eclipse, solar eclipse, is active for a year. Maybe the most important events, if there are any, because it's not directly aspecting you, Virgo, unless you have some planets in Aries, it's just in your 8th house. But it is possible that the big theme for you for a year, and especially in April now, might be again talking taxes, inheritances. And unfortunately, when there is an inheritance, it entails the theme of, you know what, death. Sometimes I'm not saying, oh, Virgo, someone will die for them. No, but it's small, but these are the theme of the 8th house. But this eclipse is about very new things that come to you from this 8th house as well. Very new. And eclipses also really can help you realign your subconscious, because they're like an earthquake almost, an eclipse. You know, after eclipses or around eclipses, they're very often earthquakes or some cataclysm in the world. Well, the same is happening psychologically for you. You can feel like a bit of a shock, even if nothing is happening externally, but something that shakes you inside and rearranges the layers of the earth. For you, to rearranges the layers of the subconscious. What happens when you move and shake up the subconscious is like all the dirt comes to the surface and muddies the water for a little bit. This is the eclipse. But after that, it can purify and all the dirt can come to the surface and you can burn it. So this is a rare opportunity this year, starting from April, to have a psychological breakthrough. And eclipses make it fast. It's not like the hard work of Saturn and slower. It's like, there is a shake-up and there is suddenly your subconscious is different. You're freed from certain traumas, or you see them in a very different perspective. Mercury retrograde can help with that. It's almost like cutting off some burden. I remember when there was a lunar eclipse, solar and lunar eclipses with the North Node in my 8th house. My life turned around, because 8th house is the house of very sudden, fast changes, where it's like suddenly flips your life around. And just around an eclipse in my 8th house with the North Node, like you're gonna have, but this is very new beginnings for you as well. My whole life, like that year I got pregnant, I got divorced. First I got divorced. I got, within a month of the eclipse, met the love of my life and got pregnant within 2 months of the eclipse. So there can be also themes of pregnancy. Eclipse in the 8th house for some of you can be that. The 8th house is the gate of entrance and exit into this world. It's like a bridge. So something new is coming there from you. Psychological breakthroughs. And I felt this year when it happened, I first of all met with an eclipse in my 8th house, my soulmate. And I didn't know. I'm like, 8th house? I expected it in the 7th house. And then our astrologer Victor says, don't you know 8th house is the house of soulmates? I'm like, oh, really? Why? What's the logic? And because the 8th house is the merging. 7th house is the other person. 8th house is the merging of your mutual energies together into one. And yeah, so I wish some of you maybe might meet the soulmate. Others might get an inheritance. Others might get a new idea to gain money through others or through a business partnership somehow, because these are mutual resources. Others might, sometimes there can be some crisis through the more darker themes of the 8th house, whether it's mutual finances, life, death. But such important topics can come up. And some of you might not feel anything. To be honest, unless an eclipse or there's something else happening as transit sometimes, but there won't be another eclipse in your 8th house for 9 years, and with the North Node for 18 years. So these themes, especially if you're Virgo rising in particular, I always say the rising sign is very important, and the moon and the sun, but these themes can be definitely there for you. So I felt like a renewed person within a month of the eclipse. So much pain, emotional, psychological. I didn't have to analyze it. It just dropped off. 8th house, I compared, eclipses are about changing of your skin. So the most powerful if they fall in your sign, of course, but also in the 8th house somehow, because eclipses carry very 8th house. Eclipse is like an earthquake that shakes you, a fault line, and shifts the layers, and that's, fast change there. So this can be it. And let's see, do right within a month or two to see if anything or what is happening in your life. I'm curious. Uh, so then there is, and by the way, when I had eclipse in the eighth house, within a year, my income together with my husband tripled. Our mutual finances, because he's working with me in the business, so it's tripled. And all those big changes, and pregnancy, birth, all very eighth house activities as well. So I wish it's that for you. Sometimes it can be the more negative parts of the eighth house, which is divorce, death, crisis. But because this eclipse is with the North Node and it's with the Chiron, Chiron is a wounded healer. There's a lot of healing possible for you, and sudden, miraculous, spontaneous healings, I would say, because Rahu is the North Node and Aries is a fast sign. Chiron is a wound we've been carrying. Oftentimes it's an emotional wound, but when you accept it or realize it, it can get rid of health issues as well that are due to the emotional wound you are not even aware of. So miraculous healings, I would call it for some of you guys. Now, the other big event is that Mars and Saturn are starting a new cycle. They're meeting on the 10th of April in your 7th house. So you might feel frustrated a little bit those first 10 days of the month. Eclipses, Saturn, Mars, conjunction opposite your sign. Maybe others are triggering you. Maybe others are activating you in some way, but it doesn't necessarily have to be bad. They can be there to point out a mistake, or they can be there so you can to trigger you, so you can make some change yourself, to activate you. But it's not only active just this 10th of April. This activation indicates the issues you have to deal with for the next 2 years, where you have to show self-discipline, Saturn, ability to say no, Saturn, and ability to eliminate things, Mars, and ability to have willpower. So these are very difficult qualities that Saturn and Mars want us to develop, in your case, through relationships and interactions with others. So for the next 2 years, this is your main theme that you're working, and you have to be conscious and deliberate about that. Otherwise, Saturn and Mars are troublemakers. If you're living unconsciously in your approach to others, there can be, issues that come to you from others, business partners, clients, friends, marriage partner, boyfriend, girlfriend. They can be difficult. But even if you're very conscious and aware, you'd still interact with, there'll be more difficulties with such people, with others. In April, you can feel it, definitely, but as well, it's a theme for a couple of years. And what Saturn and Mars ask you to be more deliberate, and the qualities, if you want to be successful through relationships, even if they might present a challenge, you have to first be patient, Saturn, learn to say no, Saturn, and Mars use willpower. Not I mean to force them by the wall, but also a bit ruthless. You might even encounter more ruthless people that are no nonsense, but you might even be inspired by such people or you might be required to be like that with others. You see, Neptune has been in your 12th house for 14 years. And Neptune is very allowing, but also misleading planet. You might have been misled about people in your life, being more allowing, giving a finger they take in a hand. Or maybe they were more sloppy, or maybe non-committal, whether you or others. Maybe there were mistakes or disappointments in relationships. Of course, also some very beautiful romantic experiences. But now Saturn and Mars for the next 2 years say no more bullshit. Not that Neptune is bullshit, but no more fantasies. Be realistic. Cut off people that are not part of your life. Be strong with them, but diplomatic, of course, you have to be. Don't be an asshole, because Saturn and Mars, sometimes we can be very frustrated, but you need to know your boundaries, so also others can do this to you. If you have not treated someone fairly, you can feel like others are cruel towards you. But this is about putting in order all the influences you've absorbed from others and behaviors you allowed through others through Neptune over the last 14 years. And a lot of beautiful things came to you from Neptune and others, like inspirational and beautiful, gentle energy. But Saturn and Mars say now it's time to clean up, organize, let's test you a little bit. let make you a bit more mature and strict and conscious and willful with relationships. So there you go. Also, you can attract more Saturn Mars like people, which are, again, as I said, strict and more organized, more disciplined, soldier like, or more, it's just pressing a button in some way. But again, also you can achieve something of great importance together with a partner in a partnership, business or personal. You might work towards improving your relationship consciously with plans, Saturn with willpower, or sometimes even, Saturn Mars combination in the seventh house. You might have to let go and eliminate certain relationships. And but you might, if you enter a business partnership or something with someone more disciplined, more going, like who pushes you, Mars, you can put a lot of yourself, a lot of such attitude towards others, but you can achieve some great work, because the seventh house is the Saturn Mars conjunction, where we use so much of our willpower and own efforts. Is when you achieve something good, it's so gratifying. Otherwise, you have to be careful that problems don't come to you from others. Others might create your problems. Okay, but now let's go to the best part of this prediction. Yes, eclipses can shake us up and sometimes through crisis, but it's like shedding of the skin psychologically for you, emotionally. Yes, Saturn Mars, it's where we put efforts and overcome obstacles, especially around their conjunction. You can see what the themes will be. But Jupiter and Uranus, they say that it's like a gift dropped on you, because Jupiter is Jupiter is angelic wisdom, Uranus is divine wisdom, and there is a lot of grace, divine and angelic grace that comes to you. It's almost like you're at the right place at the right time. Those planets, they will never join again in your 9th house, Virgos. You see, there will be another eclipse in your 8th house in Aries in 9 years. There will be another time Saturn Mars conjoins in your 7th house. Well, that might not even happen for 30 years. I'm not quite sure. But the Sun joining with Jupiter joining with Uranus in your 9th house from your sign, Virgo, never again in your life, unless you live another 84 years. So what is that? This is the luckiest house, the house of good karma, the 9th house, and Jupiter is the planet of good karma. And Uranus is the planet of sudden developments, sudden fortunes, sudden fall of fortunes. You can be lucky, especially if you're around 20 to 24 degrees, 19 to 24 degrees Virgo, Sun, Moon, or Rising, especially around 22 degrees, Jupiter, Uranus join and make an exact trine to you. This can be a time to suddenly make you. If it's your Sun around those degrees, you can suddenly be made. Break through in your career, sudden new inspiration, new direction in life. Things align in front of you. It's like it's exciting. But you don't expect on the 20th of April, when the conjunction happens, that you immediately see luck, good luck, karma. You might be luckier than all the other signs are on this day. Definitely. Not just the day, but the whole month of April. But this starts a cycle of 14 years. They'll next time meet maybe in Cancer or something like that in 14 years. So the seeds are being sown now. And I would say this whole year, not just April, because Jupiter and Uranus are close together pretty much the whole year. So especially March, April, June. So watch out, and they'll get close again later on. Watch, because something is being seeded as a seed for you that will be giving results for 14 years. I started my astrology business when Jupiter and Uranus conjoined for me. And at the beginning, I didn't see results. Exactly 14 years ago, I didn't see results that year when they joined. It took me 1 or 2 years to start seeing the results and to grow it for 14 more years. Usually, Jupiter-Uranus is like the symbol of cornucopia, the good that keeps giving and giving. So something comes to you as an idea, inspiration, ninth house rules inspiration, downloads from God, downloads from a higher consciousness, or a mentor, or some inspirational figure tells you something, changes your mind. The ninth house is your mind, your higher mind. Suddenly you see reality with way more positive, way more expanded vision. It's not just it's not about wearing rose-colored glasses. Jupiter and Uranus are planets of truth. You see the truth, and the reality is that you're way bigger. You're capable of way much. You become optimistic, you start believing in yourself, you're trusting in yourself. It's some good karma as well that comes. And this good karma can come to you from Jupiter rules your seventh house, even through a partnership. Jupiter in the ninth house, it can be even connected to children. We have a theme here again, activation, because Jupiter, Uranus, the ninth house and fifth houses are connected to children. Good karma, the idea can come to you, new inspiration, new education. You might start teaching someone, and that for 14 years can be a source of wealth and gains for you and growth. You can have such shift in consciousness that you suddenly become way more positive person, and this eclipse in the 8th house is helping as well, because it's flushing away the inner demons, the inner traumas. It's shifting the layers in your subconscious. This is the subconscious, the 8th house where the eclipse is. The 9th house is the superconscious. The subconscious and superconscious, they're both activated. So something will be very different for you. How you feel, how you're vibrationally, your higher knowledge, you might find new source, for example, to study something. Jupiter Uranus is the symbol of astrology. Do you want to launch an astrology? You want to start studying astrology or anything higher knowledge is the ninth house. You might get to the best, suddenly develop desire to get a degree and get an incredible mentor. Some of you might meet their teacher, spiritual teacher even. Some of them can meet, and these are good. This will not be someone fake, or this is someone that is really high vibration, Jupiter, Uranus. Knowledge, going to a course, going to a class, getting an inspiration, a new vision for yourself, Jupiter, Uranus in the ninth house. Student opportunities opening for you, not just for university or studying or teaching others, or even doing astrology. Now, if anyone should be studying astrology now, or other kind of complex knowledge, systems of knowledge, Jupiter, Uranus is the highest knowledge. It should be Virgos. Virgo, that's the year for you to do it. It will, whatever you're learning now, it becomes such a source of wealth and abundance for you. Ninth house, you might have luck with court cases, with the legal system. You might have a really clear understanding of the spiritual principles and ethics and what is ethical and moral. And if you've been moral and ethical yourself, big rewards, because ninth house is the house of luck, can come. I would even play a lottery if possible. Ninth house is foreign countries. It might be an opportunity that opens for you to live in a foreign country, to travel somewhere, or to study something. Ninth house is new inspirations to begin preparing for something that will be a source of, And by the way, because Jupiter rules your seventh house, and as I said, for the next 2 years, Saturn, Mars, you might do something very inspirational with a partner, but it will entail taking on more responsibility together with a partner, Saturn. So the Saturn and Mars, working hard, Mars, putting a lot of willpower and working hard with a partner, but which will become, it might be a business, it might be a child, I don't know. But that will become a source of, the ruler of the seven is conjoined Uranus in your ninth house. Influence there for 14 years, become a source of abundance, growth for you, Fascinating. I hope, I wish you luck. You have the luck. Jupiter and Uranus is there. You'd get an answer for something. You'd see something from a higher perspective. You'd get a download. Some of you can even connect with God or have some mystical experience. The eclipse in the 8th house of the subconscious, opening the lower and opening the eclipses cause thinning of the veil between realities. That's why ancient says that demons can come in during eclipses, but so can higher forces. So while Jupiter and Uranus there is activating your higher consciousness. So you can have some spiritual, intuitive experiences, some shift of your consciousness. Thank you, Virgo.